Parcels designated for his party that was
could
traveling.
have been for some of the people in his movement
okay.
that may have taken.
And what does Baba say about this?
Okay, well, the circular goes on and says, I deeply appreciate this action on the part of those responsible for spreading such false rumors.
He's saying he's appreciative of it?
Deeply appreciative, as I feel that it has the effect of rendering great service to my work. So Baba, how he dealt with opposition, you can see from his letter here, the circular. He says, further he goes on and says, in spiritual work, opposition, rumors and criticism help as nothing else can. The spiritually perfect ones who are one with the truth know and bless such channels that try to conceal and distort the truth. A principal part of my work for these many years has been to bow down to saints, sadhus, the so-called sinners, and the poor. Now, when I go to Rishikesh and Hardwar, these are holy places among the Hindu people, I will also bow down to the persons concerned in the spreading of the rumor and to all those who believed it. I want it clearly understood that this bowing down to them is not an ironical gesture propelled by any motive of egotistic attitude on my part, nor is it caused by any displeasure toward them, but that it is an indication of love from the bottom of my heart for the help rendered by them in my great spiritual work.
You know what's amazing about this? It shows his unbelievable, well, you could say his divinity, to where both good or bad don't faze him. He almost, like he says, he welcomes people and the controversy about him and his followers, because it gives him a chance to basically have them remember him, even though it may not be in a favorable way. It shows you, like, it's almost like how if a person is feeling right about their position, say with their family, and some neighbor basically accuses their family of this or that, but the person in the family has almost compassion for that person because they say, listen, I know what we are and who we are. Why should we even, consider that? We should actually feel sorry for them for feeling that way. And doesn't it feel like a lightheartedness at that moment?
Baba showed great love and great compassion. He was beyond both good and evil, so he said that's the way these people are, that's the way they are, but he didn't condemn them. You see what I'm saying?
It's a wonderful thing. It's not a way of the world to think that way.
No, Baba has unity consciousness. That's something that must be understood. We don't have that. We have duality consciousness.
Well, that's a wonderful thing you just said. I never thought of it on those lines. He has unity.
Yeah, he's beyond good and evil.
He's not duality.
He's oneness. We think in terms of this and that.
We always do.
In opposites. I am this way, you are this way, or you are that way. We always look at us and them.
That's amazing, though.
He has a fused consciousness, what I call he's beyond good and evil.
But unity consciousness, I love that.
Yes, but I thought
you're not duality, which makes you want the other side.
The opposites.
In other words, they attack me, I'm going to get back.
Yeah, like
instead of understanding them in the respect of unity.
He is beyond the positive and the negative. He's beyond good and bad, good and evil.
So
he's above all that.
Wow.
So he will not condemn or criticize a person who attacks him with rumors or any kind of negative opposition and so on.
Well, I think that last paragraph of his message almost states what you just said. It says,
from the beginning. This is a state of consciousness. From the beginningless beginning to the present day, I am what I am, irrespective of praise or universal opposition, and will remain so to the endless end.
So that
means he's beyond the beginning and he's beyond the end. So before the beginning and after the end, he's still there.
So what happens in our everyday duality doesn't touch him. Duality
does not touch him. He is aware of it,
but
because we are human.
But he sees the duality.
He is human too, but he has divinity, God consciousness. So he is God and man all rolled up in one. He says, my oneness. That means he is one and beyond good or evil, beyond good and bad.
This next circular that he clarified some points, this Western woman named Irene Conybeare wrote a book called Civilization or Chaos.
Yeah.
And there was a part in the book that he wanted to clarify that she basically wrote about. And he gives this message, which I think is very pertinent.
On February 27, Baba dictated a letter to Irene Conybeare clarifying certain points for her book, Civilization or Chaos. Part of his explanation is as follows. There is no difference, says Baba, in consciousness of the avatar and a Sadguru or a real guru. Sad from Sat means truth. Or in their perfection. That means the masters, the perfect masters. Sadguru is a perfect master. Both are one with God. Both experience infinite power, knowledge, and bliss, and both use these aspects of Sat, Chit, Anand for the universe. The difference is in the scope of their working. A perfect master or a Satguru works for the selected few in a chosen way, and for the universe in a general way. The avatar, i.e. Baba, works for the selected few in a special way and for the universe in a chosen way. So although both work for the universe and the field of their working is not limited, the scope of the ways of their working is different.
So the difference of perfect master says he works for the universe in a general way, but Baba works for it in a chosen way.
Chosen way.
So the generality is meaning this position of this master, maybe there's like maybe a hierarchical type of positioning that is required of each master. But Baba can choose in his advent, the avatar can choose in his advent to choose what to do, which is remarkable because he's, we could say creation is at his beck and call.
And the consciousness is one and the same between the avatar and the perfect master. They both have God consciousness, but a perfect master is a man who has become God in human form.
Yes, he's passed
through. An avatar, he's passed through the channels of evolution, reincarnation, and involution to get to where he is. But the avatar doesn't have to go through that. He is born.
Well, the avatar was the first most God-conscious soul, wasn't it?
Yes, the first person to realize his oneness with God.
That was in the beginning.
Yes.
So the avatar.
The first avatar.
So avatars are the Jesus.
Well, the past
Buddha.
Avatars that we know about are like Baba started with Zoroaster, then Ram and Krishna, and then Buddha and Jesus and Muhammad were the avatars, meaning they were at one with this knowledge of this consciousness.
And you'll notice that they never were on earth at the same time.
No,
Each one of those
Baba
avatars
said that the avatar, it's actually the ancient one, the consciousness of that, manifests itself on earth every 700 to 1400 years. There's a time space. So when the God-man is on the earth, we are blessed. And he also directs all of humanity, he redirects them back to what they really are, which is to get to being one with God. Because we've gone our separate ways.
So Meher Baba is an avatar.
Meher Baba is the
Is the
avatar
avatar.
of this age. And ages have to do with ages and cycles. They're part of the Hindu
So
chronology.
if people wanted to go to find out about him, they could go to his tomb in India.
They can also go to the Baba
Or
centers,
there's internet information.
access
Keyword Google Meher Baba or Avatar Meher Baba, and they'd get probably.
avatarmeherbaba.org.
And in fact, actually, if they hit on Google Lord Meher, they would get the entire publication.
Well, this book that we're
I
reading,
mean, they could.
all this entire biography,
We're on page 4074.
they can search it.
If they hit Lord Meher, page 4074.
LordMeher.org, they can go to Forosamo and do a search.
But it's amazing how that is all available free.
Yeah, Lawrence Ryder, who translated Bhau
Yeah, what a work he did.
Kalchuri's work,
Yeah,
has donated it to the rest of the world.
it's amazing.
On the internet, it's free.
It's free.
And also there are centers of Baba around the United States. We have one here in Los Angeles. There's one in the East Coast in Myrtle Beach. The centers in England,
In
in the
Ojai.
UK, Ohio
Meher Mount.
is, yes, but they don't have meetings every day or every weekend. But it's a great place to be in. Very peaceful, very tranquil. They have one in Myrtle Beach, they have centers in UK, in Australia, and of course in India, and Mirazad.
And back in this message now, did you want to continue on page 4075?
Let's see what
With
what
Baba
talks
dictated a statement to Erich
Yeah. Let's try that.
on February 23rd, 1953.
Baba, well, this is when he was with this Shivananda's ashram, so I should just go back a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
When he
Yeah,
was
this-
in Rishikesh at 3:30, he went to Shanti Koti on the Kogal Ghat where they were to stay. Baba soon dispatched Erich and Kishan Singh, part of his mandali, to Shivananda's ashram. This is Swami Shivananda.
He was a very holy man with a following.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, lots of following in the northern part of India and most of India. To make the appointment for that evening at 5:30, but then they arrived, they learned that Shivananda was indisposed. Still, the meeting was arranged. However, Shivananda's secretary insisted that Baba meet the ashram inmates first. Baba wanted to see Shivananda directly, but was told this could not be agreed to since such a great personage as Meher Baba must be properly welcomed. The secretary had Baba's darshan several years ago, so see, they had respect for Baba,
Right.
even though Shivananda had a great following. Baba arrived at Shivananda's ashram at exactly 5:30 p.m., where he had received with great reverence. He was received. Baba had informed those in charge of the ashram that no ceremony should be performed, but according to their custom, it was done anyway. The secretary saluted Baba by bending down and touching his feet, which is a custom in India when you have a person of great, we show reverence to someone who's of a higher nature. And Baba returned the greeting in the same way. Touching Baba's feet was prohibited, as Erich had clearly and emphatically pointed out beforehand, but Baba's instructions seemed to be observed more in breach than in compliance that day. Secretary led Baba to a hall where bhajan singing was in progress. They had devotional songs going on. He garlanded Baba, and his jai reverberated throughout the building. Jai means victory. Baba was made to sit on a chair, but he immediately left it and sat on the floor. On the floor with the rest of the disciples. He then indicated to Erich that he should read out his statement dictated in Dehradun on February 23rd and also later issued in the form of a circular. So this is a message also appears in a book called Life at its Best, some of it, a short book on Baba's messages. We should once and for all understand that no amount of learning, reading, teaching, reasoning, and preaching can give us liberation. That's freedom from the round of births and deaths.
So it says no amount of reading, teaching, learning, reasoning, preaching
And
can
learning.
give you liberation. Because some people
Freedom
choose.
from being born again.
Some people choose those paths because
Yes.
they think.
Well, that's human.
But now Baba is stating
Baba is
clarification.
clarifying. That's, liberation is called mukti, freedom from being born, reborn.
Right.
So reincarnation has been established by Baba. Vedantic expressions, this is the Hindu scriptures are called Vedanta. Vedantic expressions, Sufi talks, mystical words and philosophical statements take us nowhere spiritually. They're just that, statement. Religious conferences, spiritual societies, and the so-called universal brotherhood are apt to bind the soul rather than free it.
So how do we free it?
Well, I'll go on. Only when we transcend intellect and enter the domain of love can we aspire for liberation. And Baba is talking about a higher love, divine love. He's not talking about selfish love,
right,
or human love. When love for God reaches its zenith, the highest point, we lose ourselves in the beloved God and attain eternal liberation. Liberated ones are ever free from all illusory attachments. They're not attached to anything on the physical plane. Good and bad, what we were talking about earlier, virtue and vice cannot pollute the ocean of divine truth.
You know what that goes along with? We were saying the unity of Baba. That's probably the consciousness that he has.
Yeah,
He's in unity with the ocean of divine truth. So all these things, good and bad.
Not only Baba, but all the avatars.
All the avatars. So, I mean, the idea of it is, so when you get this eternal liberation, you're free of this duality.
Yes.
Like he says, good or bad, virtue and vice cannot affect you.
Transcend.
You transcend it. So that's why when a person has rumors and basically gives negative reports about Baba and his followers,
opposition,
it's like it doesn't even affect them because
Baba welcomed opposition.
He welcomed it because it was a way of thinking of him.
It helps your spiritual journey.
Because you're talking about somebody who's the avatar. You may not be talking about it positively, but you're still talking about it.
But even then, even people talking about other people in a negative way helps them spiritually.
I wonder if this talk in the world today about Mohammed has helped, or Jesus, I mean, those two sectors, one is this and that.
Well, we're not talking about human consciousness, we're talking about higher consciousness, what Baba stresses. Don't put that in the same context.
It's a different context,
totally. It's a whole different mindset. We're not talking about the mind functioning in duality.
I see. We're talking about love taking over.
The mind works in duality, this and that.
Yeah.
Baba talks about a higher kind of consciousness. Don't put Baba's words on this level.
Well, he even says this, transcend intellect and enter the domain of love. So if you're using your intellect to make your decisions, that's not love.
That's why they say the mind has to slow down and be stopped for the heart to open up. God resides in the heart.
So this doesn't seem to be easy then. It seems like the most masses of people in the world today don't have this love.
They follow intellect, mind.
So they think that's the way to go.
That's all they know. Not think. That's all they know. But they have to aspire to a higher
So what you're
purpose.
saying, information like this, perhaps to a certain ripe soul, would help.
Baba has always stated that his path is the path of love, high love, divine love, which also deals with compassion. Now he goes on and says, perfection does not merely mean escaping from the Mayavic law. Man becoming God is perfection, but when man, after consciously becoming God, returns to gross consciousness, that's where we are, our physical consciousness, as man, he has achieved the supreme perfection. Such a perfect man, such a perfect one is not only God, but lives the life of God as man. He is in Maya, that's the principle of illusion, and simultaneously beyond it. He is amidst the law of karma, but not bound by it. Whatever his actions, they are non-actions, for the actions which bind ordinary man are not only non-binding when performed by a perfect one, but are channels for his universal spiritual work of liberation, of liberating mankind from the ignorance of Maya. Maya is the principle of ignorance. It makes us take what is not real as real. Like mistaking the snake for a rope, or a rope for the snake. You imagine things. The perfect ones are free from freedom itself, and so are free even from the non-actions that they perform for their universal work. To those who love me and naturally wish to know about my activities, I can only say that as far as my inner life and internal activities are concerned, only God and those who are one with God can know and understand. As far as my external activities are concerned as a human, are concerned regarding my work with the God intoxicated, these are called musts, people who are just totally absorbed in their love for God. The saints, sadhus, and the poor have contacted them, working with them, serving them, and bowing down to them in wholehearted devotion. They've all been recorded by a disciple of mine in The Wayfarers. Dr. Donkin, I believe, wrote that. I enjoy games, chiefly cricket, playing marbles, flying kites, and also listening to music, which I have on rare occasions enjoyed. From time immemorial to this day, I have been playing with the Mayavic universe, and this enjoyment of playing still persists. Although the rumor concerning me and my devotees regarding consumption of liquor at Swarg Ashram is absolutely false, it is a fact that once in a great while I give wine to my lovers and make them understand that it is not this wine of grapes, but the true wine of love, giving divine intoxication that helps towards union with God. You just asked how you can, it's that intoxication, love for God, like devotion. I allow vegetarians to follow their diet and non-vegetarians to eat meat, fish, eggs, etc. I do not interfere with any religion and permit all to follow their own creeds unhindered. When faced with love for God, these external ceremonials have no value. Love for God automatically and naturally results in self-denial, your ego, mental control, and ego annihilation, irrespective of the lover following or renouncing these external adoptions. I sometimes see motion pictures, mostly humorous ones, and enjoy my real state of being the eternal producer of the vast, ever-changing, never-ending film called the universe. It's a movie, this world we live in, from Baba's standpoint. Also find relaxation in listening to humorous stories, all the time being aware of the humor that lies in the aspect of the soul, which is a source of infinite power and glory, being made to feel so helpless in its human bondage, of ignorance in its various forms of duality.
Yes, there it is again.
About. Once in a while I give darshan and prasad of love to the people, each person benefiting according to his or her receptivity. I give upadesh or advice in the form of instructions to those who have surrendered to perfect masters, and I give help in the form of general advice to a few who long for the truth. All this, of course, is effective in accordance with the worthiness of the recipient. Perfect ones can impart divine knowledge, bestow divine love, and shower the grace of God union by a mere glance, touch, or a single divine thought. I feel very happy and give my love and blessings to all. If my gesture of love is understood even by one among you all, my coming here today will have served its purpose.
It's amazing.
I said, if one person really understands what I say,
well, it's probably
it's done its job.
That, what's the word? Most people are not, you could say, readily available to accept, like you said earlier, people's consciousness and their mind. They don't even have the capacity to understand that you don't use your intellect to grab this knowledge. It is grabbed through the awakening of the heart, or the quality of love, which doesn't come just through one lifetime.
It doesn't mean the physical heart.
Right.
It means the feeling aspect of the
exactly.
mind.
And so which I bring out of the show, and I will remember it always, is what you said about that. Baba works with unity, not duality. And I think that's an amazing thing to think.
And the unity consciousness overrides the duality consciousness to which we are,
of course,
used to.
I mean, the thing
or
is,
conditioned to.
I mean, Christ spoke of turning the other cheek. And he basically said that in regards to, turning your other cheek if you were offended by somebody.
That is unity consciousness. All the avatars and the perfect ones have that consciousness, that one with God. And God is beyond good or evil.
But the thing is, if a person is ignorant of the fact of who he is in regards to being a soul, one with the universe, one with all his brothers and sisters, whether he considers them enemies or not, he'll never know.
Yeah.
So it was a great program in that regard, Suhas. Thank you so much. And
You're very welcome.
we'll do part 2 of this at a future airing date. Until next time, as Meher Baba has said,
Don't worry, be happy. Now do your best and I will help you.
that's wonderful. Chai Baba.
Jai Baba.